It's an awesome Wednesday episode. I am super excited to get into the studio today. It took some time to really work on what I love, the music side of things. Dane sends his love. He just couldn't make it today. Music is my passion. I love sports and music, but music is like 1A and sports is 1B. And the guy that we've got coming on here in a few minutes, I got to tell you about Grayson Stewart. This guy's in multiple bands. The band that I found him from back in the day, there's a band called Norma. Guys, I'm telling you what, from the early days of like Martyr, Redeemer, all the way through like Death Rattle, All Hail, and the Polar album that dropped in 2016, kind of a masterpiece. This band, if you like a positive spin, kind of a positive message, but also want to like melt your face off at the same time, this is the kind of band that you're looking for. It goes back to people my age that listen to the show, not to date ourselves because I feel like we're still young and kind of in the game, but things like the Malines, the Under Oaths, even some a little bit of the Used, that scene of music, mid 2000s, they hit this like super like high elevation of music where it's like we're going to be as hardcore and hard as we can, but also going to declare a positive thing. So nobody does that better than the Norma Jean. Even a cool story about the name and their guitarist Grayson Stewart. I'm telling you guys, second to none. I feel like he's the living embodiment of the next generation of Zach Wild, guys. So I don't want to waste any more time. I want to get right down to it and bring on my boy Grayson. Grayson, how you doing, my friend?
Hey, what's up, man? Thank you for having me. I'm really excited to do this. Thank you for all those kind words. That means a
Well,
lot to me for real.
it's all true, man. When watching your style of play, man, like I said, I could break down different techniques and all that, but it's just an honor. I'm going to jump right into questions because I know you're a busy dude with tours and multiple bands, by the way, which is really cool. But question, man,
Yeah.
question number one, I'm going to jump into it. Looking at you as a guitarist, I know you've been doing this for quite some time. I look at your early days, demos, maybe garage band stuff, all of that. Take me back to when you got like the itch, or when did this all begin for you to play music? Like, when did you get the love for guitars, you will, you know?
Yeah. So pretty much literally as far back as I can remember, I had a love for just music in general, like being 5 or 6 years old. Like when the movie Drumline came out with Nick Cannon in it, I loved that movie because like I didn't really have the ability to listen to music on my own because I was so young. I didn't have the internet or anything like that. But for some reason, that movie just like really did something for me. And I fell in love with drumming and with music from that movie. And I begged my parents for years to get me a drum set. Never happened because they were smart and they didn't just buy like a 7 year old kid a drum set. So then, years went on, a couple of years went on. And when I was 10 years old, I used to stay with my grandma in the summers while my parents worked, and I would just watch CMT all day, like country music television. And the music video for Shania Twain's "Man, I Feel Like a Woman" came on. And I've talked about this like all over the place on the internet, I'm sure, but that music video was like the thing that did it for me because like her whole band, they were all playing these like white flying V's and white double neck SGs, just these really cool guitars, and I had never really seen anything like that before. And even though like the song, it's an amazing song for one, but it wasn't like a rock song or a metal
Right,
song
right.
or anything
It
like
was
that.
pop.
And I
Yeah,
didn't
yeah.
even, yeah, it was awesome, but and I didn't even really know what metal or rock was, truthfully, at that point. But that music video like made me literally go grab my grandma's landline and call my mom at work. And I was like, "Hey, I need you to get me guitar lessons." And then like 2 or 3 weeks later, like my grandma bought me like this like really like student level Fender acoustic, and then a few weeks later I was in lessons, and so that's when I was 10. And basically
Wow.
like from day one of doing that, I was just in love with it because I
Just hooked,
played
huh?
sports and stuff, dude, immediately because I'd done sports most of my life up to that point, like baseball, soccer, a few different things, and I liked it all, but and I was like decent at it, but it just never was like, man, I want to do this forever. And I don't know, once I started playing music, it was like a whole different world was unlocked. It was like the first time where I felt any kind of ability to like express myself
I
and
love
like
that.
do something that was like purely me, especially because like at that time I went to a like a Catholic middle school for some reason. Like I was never Catholic or anything, but I went to this Catholic school, and we had to wear uniforms, and like there's all these crazy rules, and like
Right.
just was
Right.
not like a place where they like nurtured somebody that was getting into like heavy metal music.
Right.
And like you
Right.
had like no real like identity or expression or anything. So music was kind of like this just wild door opening for me that
I love
changed a
that, dude.
lot.
Music was your identity, man. And I think about like your style. And again, I love it. Like you have this, you fit right into this. I'm telling you, dude, like mid 2000s and beyond, there's this Maylene kind of Southern metal revival, right? You think about some of those bands that came out of the pipeline, even some of the Chariot, stuff like that. I look at your body of work, dude, and you can tell like you put your mark on the scene. I got to ask this question. It's kind of a bonus one, though. I'll never forget my dad. My first guitar that I got, saved up my money, was working at Village Inn back in the day, waiting tables, this and that. Saved up $1,000, got my first purple Midnight Ibanez Roadstar. I'm Ibanez Roadstar. I'm curious, what was your first baby? Like your guitar, like your first real guitar? What was it? You know?
Yeah. My I guess my first real one that like I cherished at least. Because my first guitar, like I said, was a Fender acoustic, and then
Okay.
I eventually talked my parents into getting me a Squire Strat because I was like, I need to play an electric. You know, it was one of those like little like starter pack things. It
Yeah.
came with the tiny amp and everything. But then like the first guitar that I got after that was a Dean MLX because like
Okay.
Dimebag's like my number one and Pantera
Right.
is my favorite band. So yeah, that was like my first guitar. I was like, this is like a very special possession or object to me.
You still have it or tour with it or do you still have it or
No, I sold it like years ago because it was like a really cheap, like
got you?
beginner model. It was like $200, you know. And
I'm with you.
I've still got my like my old Squire Strat though, and I've still got my first acoustic. Those are
Yeah.
two that like I can't let go of just for sentimental purposes.
All with you,
But
man.
yeah, I don't have the Dean though anymore.
It's funny when you mention the Squire. I still have that sunburst in the storage shed somewhere. That crazy sunburst. Everybody had it. That gross colored. I got you, man. So looking at your,
Yeah.
tours, man. Obviously, you guys got the tour with POD coming up and your other band, man. It's cool. You're a busy dude. You've done a lot. You played a lot of shows. You played a lot of gigs, and people know you really worldwide at this point. I'm curious, man. Everybody's got a different take on this. Some dudes say it's like local, small venues. Some dudes say it's like arenas. When you look at your body of work, your career, and all the shows that you've done, is there maybe one or two for whatever reason that stands out to you as being like that's my favorite show so far? If you could even pick one or two, you know?
Yeah, there's like a handful of them. My number one is it's this place in London called the Roundhouse,
Yep.
and it's like a pretty historic venue over there. And we played that in 2019. And you know, I've it's not like necessarily the largest venue that like we've played in or the largest crowd or anything like that. It's a really good sized one, but there's something about like that room and just like the look of it. It's unlike a normal venue or normal stage you get to play.
Yeah.
It feels like you're in a like Coliseum or something like that. And that one was like super special to me. And like really all of us. That was like a big bucket list one for all of us. And
Yeah.
so that's like probably number one. And then number two is on it. We've done the last 3 years of Furnace Fest. We've done all three of those. And last year we did the shed, which is like the big old, you know, metal
Yeah.
shed
I'm
there.
familiar. Yeah. It's a great
And
spot.
it was awesome. And there was something about that where it was way bigger than I thought it was going to be. Because the year before that, we played you know, the main stage. And I was like, okay, well, that's like the height of what you can do at this festival. And I loved it. It was a great time. Our set got cut really short because we had a bunch of like technical issues, which sucked. And that's kind of why we got to come back for a third year was they were trying to like make it up to us because we got screwed over pretty hard. And but that show was really special because the way it's set up is like it's not just a stage and a flat ground. It's like a stage and then the ground kind of like is at an incline. And it just looked like I was playing at Red Rocks or something. Like that's what
Yeah.
the perception was for me. And Red Rocks
Oh,
is my like number one bucket list that I want to like achieve one day. So that was like it felt like doing something similar to that. So I'd say
I
those are
got you,
probably
man.
my top two.
Yeah, I got some Euro buddies that have played in Roundhouse, and it's a cool venue, man. Like it's something. It's almost like the way that they picture the Ryman here, or like the Bluebird. Like that's the Euro Ryman, right? So yeah, man.
Absolutely.
And there's different reasons, dude. Like my buddy Mikey from Islanders, like, dude, he had a show one time where it's like 15 people, and then he had like thousands. It doesn't really matter the crowd. People like yourself, which I love. The crowd doesn't matter. It's the size doesn't matter. It's the intensity, the energy, the intimacy. But yeah, dude. So I'm sure it won't be long, man, before you're playing at the Red Rock. It's a cool spot. I've been there, like, just to check it out. Never actually got to be in a concert, but it's a cool spot. So I got you.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, man. When you're looking at influence, I know obviously Pantera is a big one for you. I knew that, but your style, it's really cool because you take this blend with you and the other guys. You hear elements of Southern rock, but you also hear obviously a little bit of emo. You hear progressive. There's a spectrum when it comes to your guitar playing. I'm curious, outside of course the big influence of Pantera, is there maybe two or three dudes that have like shaped you as a guitarist over the years, if you will? You know?
Yeah, absolutely. Probably in terms of like guys that I still like really look up to even currently with what they're doing. Brent and Bill from Mastodon.
Yep.
Those are like the two guys where I just am like constantly any video that pops up of them or any like visual thing that I can watch. Those are two guys where I always like take the time and just zoom in on their hands and like really try to pick apart what they're doing because they've created such a unique sound and a unique playing style. And like I've tried to like do my best to like take it and
Yeah.
make my own like bastardized version of it. You know,
Right.
at times, like I don't ever want to like fully rip something or someone off, but there's a lot of really cool things that those guys do with like open strings and incorporating like chicken picking type licks and yeah, I don't they just approach riffs in such a cool way. Like
Yeah.
sometimes they're aggressive, sometimes they're really melodic, sometimes like they're wide sounding in terms of like the spectrum of the notes, and then sometimes like there's this one riff on Crack the Sky, and I remember watching the studio doc to it when I was like a kid, and he's playing it on this red Strat, and it's just like a surf rock single string tremolo picking riff. I just feel like that band's got it all in
Yeah.
terms of
Yeah.
what I like.
I could see that. I say this side note. Some dude it was really crappy footage, but some dude posted a video of you playing Full Circle one time, and I'm like, I'd zoom on that 1,000 times. So like the way you are with these guys, I'm watching you play that. I'm like, I can't grasp it. So it's cool to see kind of what influences are on you. It's cool, man. When
Definitely.
you think
I
about
mean, they
when you
definitely had a big like Mastodon was definitely like a big part of
That's
that
cool.
song too. Yeah.
That's cool, man. I love that. I can see that the correlation there. Obviously, the next year you've got two bands you're working with. You're a busy guy. Obviously, got lots going on, tours. I'm curious though, man. You as an artist, guitarist, some dudes do this. What's the next 12 months looking like for you as a guitarist? And your slate, if you will.
So right now I've got a tour that starts in like 2 weeks with my other band, Great American Ghost. We're
Yep.
going out with that band, The Ghost Inside. And so I'm doing that for most of April and half of May. Then I meet up with Norma Jean, finish out our tour with POD. Then we're home for a f- about a month or so. And but we're doing a lot of writing in this meantime of all that with Norma Jean. And eventually later this year, probably like August-ish, July-ish, we're hoping to like start recording around that time, as long as we're like in a good
Nice.
spot to do so. And then I can't like say anything that's like official yet, but we do have like tour plans throughout the rest of the year. And
Nice.
so new at least making a new record, a handful of tours left. Great American Ghost, we did a whole new full length back in December, and
Right.
that'll be coming out in the next couple months. Really excited about that record. It's going to be awesome. And other than that, I'm trying to like start kind of this whole new venture for myself where, I grew up on like country music. My grandma was kind of like my introduction to music just from riding around in the car with her when I was a kid. And it was always like, the oldies country stuff, Hank
Yeah.
Williams and George Jones, all that
Oh
stuff.
yeah.
And so basically since like 2019 or so, I've been working on like writing a solo record that's like
Okay.
country
Okay.
country Americana stuff like that.
Let's
I've got
go.
about
Okay.
30 songs or so, and like they're all like pretty they're like kind of at the final stage where it's like, all right, like you can't just keep sitting at your house like reworking these songs. Like you got to go get in the studio now and like make it a reality. So that's like one of my big goals for this year is to start at least the process of putting out some solo music also.
That'd be sick, dude. I can't wait to hear it. Imagine, check the, like, maybe if you pull like a Maynard thing. Can you imagine doing what Maynard does? Like you got Norma Jean, Great American Ghost, and you could like open up as you as the singer for like your solo band. You guys could do a whole thing
Yeah,
like a festival. You know what I mean? So
dude, I like, you know, like Dallas Green and Alexis on Fire, City and
right,
Color.
right.
That dude was like such a huge inspiration and influence on me. Like even guitar playing wise, to go back to like your previous question, pretty
Yeah,
much all of the like the ambient guitar and the clean stuff that we do in Norma Jean, that's all like rooted in stuff that I've learned from being such a big City and Color fan about
that's
like
crazy.
melody and ambience. But like we have the song With Airs, and like one of the main riffs in that song and like the whole clean bridge was me basically trying to like be an Alexis on Fire, like ride a City and Color
Yeah,
type
yeah.
guitar riff, but like in the context of this heavier band, you know?
Well, dude, if not to do that name drop thing, but if you're near OKC in May, we're hanging out with Leon from City and Color because we're friends with him. Come hang out, dude. If you're around OKC at that time, I'm just saying, I'm with you.
Yeah,
I could
yeah, yeah.
talk City and Color all day long, but that's a whole different topic, man. I love it. So I could tell that by you though,
Absolutely.
because you listen to like your dissonant chords and things that you do. You can tell when you listen to your style of playing. That's why I tracked you down because you're not just some, which I love. I love hardcore. You're not just a hardcore player. You are literally a student of music, and you can hear it. You can hear the range of music from whether it's old school country, you hear a little Joe Diffie in your stuff, even to like we said emo, like a little bit of Amos Lee. You hear it all, and that's what's cool about you. So anyway, let me stop fanboying out, dude, because I'll go crazy on that. So this next segment, I'm gonna tell you what I promise you, and all the media that you've done, Grayson, I promise you, you never had a segment like this. Dane and I are known for
All
this.
right.
This is something that we call it's called rapid fire worldwide. All 30 countries that we're on in, our fans send us questions. Dane's not here, but he's already sent me his picks. I have them right here, just so you know. We bet on what we think you're
Awesome.
gonna say. So check this out. There's no wrong answer. There's 5 questions. And what
All
this
right.
is, imagine for a moment that time does not exist. You can travel into the future, into the past, kind of a silly, weird but PG like rapid fire segment where all we're doing is picking your brain on what we think you're going to say, kind of a Rorschach test. Okay, so
Okay.
no
Yeah.
wrong answer, and the winner, whoever's closest to getting your picks, what we think you're going to say, we bet on you. The winner gets lunch provided by the loser. It's pretty cool. Okay, so ready?
Okay. Okay. Yeah. Yeah.
So obviously all of the bands, the birth or the inception, if you will, started mid 2000s, like the 2010s. You know, Norma Jean, of course, with Ghosts, and then your solo stuff. So that 2000s era of music, we're gonna go back in time for a second. And you, at the age that you are now, somehow you're transplanted back into 2003. They said, Grayson, these two rappers are going on tour. These two rappers, they want someone to do a full live on set. Like they want you to be their guitar guy and back them up live. Your choices, love them both.
Yeah.
You can choose to fill up behind Chameleonaire, or you can be the backup for Mike Jones. Who are you going with?
Dang, dude. I think I gotta do Chameleonaire
Let's go.
because man, riding to like when I played baseball, I remember going to like every baseball game just bumping that
Right,
Riding
riding
Dirty
dirty.
song.
Yeah, dude. Yeah,
Yeah.
let's go, man. Love them both, but that's what I picked you for as well. So got you. So
Yeah.
we know this about you from like blogs and different things. We know you're a big boot connoisseur. Next question is going to expand on your cowboy boots for a second. So you're invited, you and the band, you're invited to be part of the 2024 NBA 3-point contest competition. They say, Grayson, we want you to show up. Here's the thing: you got to do this 3-point competition in boots. You got to wear your cowboy boots, just so you know. And you can choose your
Yeah.
opponent. It's a celebrity edition. Who your opponent is. You can do a 3-point competition
Yeah.
against either A, Paul Rudd, or B, you can go with Jim Carrey. Paul Rudd, Jim Carrey, and boots. Who are you going against?
Oh. Uh, man, if I'm just wanting to win, I'm gonna go against Paul Rudd
Let's go.
because Jim Carrey, I think, would be able to distract me more because I'm a bigger fan of him.
Right. Got you.
Yeah. I think
Love
I
it.
could zone out enough with Paul Rudd and be like, I don't
Yeah.
care that you're Paul Rudd.
I love it. I got you, bro. I did. Dane had Jim Carrey. I had Paul. So I'm 2 for 2. Awesome. So next question: you are invited to the Indy 500. Music it crosses all sports. They invite you to do the national anthem You're going to do a dueling guitar solo, national anthem. And your guest dueler is one of these two guys that helps you do the national anthem. You can choose between love them both. Tom Morello or Zach Wild to help you do the national anthem. Indy
Oh,
500. Who you
dude,
go?
hands down, Zach Wild.
Let's go. I
Yeah,
had you, bro.
hands
I
down.
had you. Had
Yeah.
you. Let's go. Got it. I love them both, but
He
I
will
just
make me look awful. He will put me to shame, but I would take that any day.
I love it. I love it, man. Love them both, but I picked you for that too. So Dane picked he picked Morello because he's a Rage fan. So got you. I'm winning so far. This is just for the cake. These last two. So you're transplanted. Grayson is transplanted black in the 1977. The guitarist that you are now. Check this out. Skinner calls you says, "Hey, dude, we got a concert in our we're not gonna. He's sick. You got to fill in his guitar." But we're writing a song. For whatever reason, the song has not been written yet. They want you to like write a song before the show. And the two songs that you get to choose to be like credited for making, you can either make Simple Man or you can make Sweet Home Alabama. Love them both, but you get to be like responsible with the band of writing one of these two songs. Which one are you going with?
Dude, Sweet Home Alabama. Because
Oh my,
my
oh,
my first
okay.
concert that I ever went to was Leonard Skinner, one of my favorite bands of all time. And back at my Catholic school, with my like old Dean MLX guitar, we had like a talent show, and I played Sweet Home Alabama at that, like for all these
Let's
like
go.
drunk Catholic dads.
I love it. Let's go. Honestly, dude, from your style, that's the first one I got wrong. They're both great songs. I had you for Simple Man just from your picking style, but it's all good, man. So all
Yeah,
good. No wrong answers. So last one, check this out. So we're they're inviting you to be a part of the 2024 Hellfest. And they say, hey man, you guys are gonna headline. It's a cool show, would love it. Been there a couple times, love the whole vibe. But they say you can't just go on stage as Grayson Stewart. You have to basically pretend like you're one of these two guitarists and dress up in their outfits. Okay. So you can do this. You can dress up for the night as Michael Sweet from Striper. And you can't even say that. You just got to do it. Like dress up in the whole Striper garb. Or you can dress up as Gene
yeah.
Simmons from Kiss, Michael Sweet, or Gene Simmons. You got to just show up and act like it's normal. Which one you go with?
Oh yeah, I'm going with Gene Simmons.
Oh, dude, I
Yeah.
had you for Michael Sweet, bro. I really did, man. Okay. That's cool. No
Yeah.
wrong answer, bro.
Not
Dane had you.
necessarily like a big fan of either, but I
Right,
think I
right.
would be able to like I would be more comfortable going like extra ridiculous with
Okay.
the Gene Simmons costume.
No worries, bro. Okay. So I hopefully if we see you in Wichita and you're in the Gene Simmons outfit, you're welcome. Just saying. So just kidding,
Yeah.
bro. All good, bro. So no, just a little game we do called Rapid Fire, man. Hopefully in interviews in the past, a little something different. So appreciate you being a good
Yeah,
sport, okay? So
absolutely. Love that.
love love it. So last segment, man, because I know you're a busy guy, before we get you back to your day, this last segment is called Rapid Fire, or excuse me, it's called Open Mic. What this basically is, the reason Dane and I began doing this, artists like yourself or athletes or just people making a difference in the world, whether you like it or not, you're making a huge difference on people's lives, man. When you make music, your style of music reaches a lot of people. So you've left a mark, you've left a reputation. So looking at maybe who you are now, if you're to go back and maybe tell your beginning self or someone that wants to be you one day, just a piece of advice about how to chase your dreams, what's a word or two of wisdom you'd give to those that want to be you, if you will?
My biggest thing when it comes to, it doesn't necessarily just apply to like trying to do music as a job or anything, but if you're wanting to do something that's like there's not a clear outline of how to get there and how to achieve it, and it's not something that like there's a ladder that you can see of like how to climb it necessarily, and it's something that the majority of the people that start that process are going to fall off over time. Like the biggest thing is just about outlasting. It's just about having stamina and like faith in yourself, and then faith in the process, and like faith that it'll be worth it eventually. Like even for me, like I've been able to accomplish and do a lot of things that 10 to 12-year-old me wouldn't even believe, and was like their ultimate dream or whatever. And I've loved every second of it. But there's still like I'm not where I want to be yet, and
Mhm.
like I don't mean that in an ungrateful way. Like I've just got like there's a lot that I want to do, and I've got like big goals for myself. Some of them like are defined and some of them aren't. But in this, so this is advice that I have to like tell myself every day, is to be like, it doesn't feel like it's happening right now, and it hasn't felt like it's happened in different moments in the past. And like you just have to keep your head down and, like, for lack of a better word, like grind through it, because
Yeah.
if you do that long enough, like you start to have evidence of it working.
Hmm.
Like I did the grind thing from like 15 years old, playing in local bands and playing local shows, and like doing all the stuff that at times like can feel pointless, or like it's not really getting you to this like bigger scale picture that you're going towards. Um, but like looking back at multiple points, like, even up to like 5 years ago, I was able to look back on some of that stuff and see the importance of each step of that
Yeah.
process. And that's something like I don't think ever goes away. Like as long as like you are still reaching for things, like you have to constantly remind yourself of like, and be able to look back and like learn from it.
And I made some notes because climbing the ladder, still reaching. I always make notes from our guests and all that. And you said something, man. It's interesting. You and the same person that said it was Lady Gaga. We had one of her piano players on one time. They're talking about like when you're looking at the audience that you've reached, dude. People that come to your show, whether like you said, it's clubs or venues and all that, or arenas. You're bringing people to your show that can quote your lyrics word for word. You have literally, I don't want to say cult following, but you have this following. People like, dude, you have left an impression, and that's got to be a good feeling at the end of the day, knowing your music, your experiences, you and the band's journey of life has impacted people in such a way where they can literally quote your songs from the start to the end of a show. You know what I'm saying? So you're making an impression on people's lives. You know what I mean? So
Yeah, it's something that still feels weird at times. Like I don't even know how to like put into words the amount of like gratitude I have for
yeah,
it, because
yeah,
I try not to like, I think there's a healthy line of like um being, I guess, humble for lack of a better word, but
right.
also like acknowledging
Still
work or
hungry, right?
progress that
But
you,
still hungry.
yeah.
Yeah,
And like it's hard for me sometimes because I feel like I have a very bad tendency of downplaying things.
I
And
get
I
you.
think it's almost like out of self-preservation, because I'm scared of
Yeah,
failing or losing. So, if I didn't succeed in the first place, then you've got nothing to lose.
right,
And
right. Yeah,
I still like live in my like hometown that I've grown up in my entire life. So like everything when I'm at home is the same, as if none of this had ever happened, and as if like none of the things that I set out to achieve got achieved, which is like a good place to be at sometimes, because
yeah.
it's like a nice way to be able to come home and like have like a good like
Separate.
base level. Hmm.
I got you, man.
So
And I'm with you. Trust me. And don't get me wrong. I know what you're saying. Like you're humble but hungry. I totally respect that. I get you, man. I just don't forget as you're chasing and continue to climb that ladder. Don't forget, man. You are definitely every ladder rung that you climb. You're leaving a huge impression on those, if you will. That's what I meant. So
I appreciate that so much, man. Like it means the world to me.
yeah,
And it's been cool. Like growing up, Norma Jean was like my favorite band,
yeah,
in terms of like not like Panteras and Metallicas and stuff like that, but once I got into this kind of music, like the Mayleens and the Chariots, I loved all those bands. But Norma Jean was like my favorite band. And weird I it was just a weird enough, set a turn of events that like I got to be a part of it. And so it was cool because I've got to approach this like from being a fan and then from being a
yeah.
member of it as well. And
Oh
like
yeah,
the records that I've got to do and the tours I've got to do and the records that I'm gonna do with it, like I take it all very serious and I hold it all very highly, and I don't take any of it very lightly, because the people that I meet at the shows that come to like VIPs, or the people you just meet that come to your shows every time you go through certain towns, like you kind of start to realize the impact that this type of thing can have on somebody.
oh yeah, oh
And
yeah,
I can't help but think back on like how I was when I was 13 or 14 going to see Norma Jean, and like how much it meant to me when those dudes would like make time to still talk to me after the show and like interact with you, so it's something that like I try to stay very self vigilant about,
yeah.
because if like you don't give back to the people that like help you do what you want to do, then like you're really taking advantage of a situation, I feel like.
I got you, man. And you definitely, one thing about you and the band, I've seen the OG Norma Jean play a few times. And one thing about all of you guys is you always have that humility, but that drive at the same time. It's a healthy blend of like you said, climbing the ladder, content, but also still climbing. So I totally get what you're saying. I love that dialogue of what you're saying, man. So, man, I'll close on this, Grayson, because I know you're a busy dude. Tours are just popping off for you. Man, don't be a stranger. The way we present this to you is once you're on the show, you're always an alum. Down the road, man, with Great American Ghost or some of your solo stuff, you're welcome to come back. And this is an advocate in your corner. Bring it over here. We'll display it for you. Bring the band with you. We'll be happy to showcase you as you drop more music in the days ahead. Okay. So
I appreciate that, man. That means a lot.
yeah, man. Hopefully we'll see you in Kansas. If not, man, much love and we'll keep in touch. I'll get this out to the world as soon as we can. But on behalf of Dane and I, man, thank you for making time to do this. It's awesome bucket list for me. But stay healthy, man. Take care and can't wait to hear some more music from you in the days ahead. Okay. So take care, brother. Have a good day, man. Thanks, man. So, guys, that's Grayson Stewart. I'm telling you guys, one of the most humble rock stars I've met. And I've met a lot of dudes. My days of playing and just what I've got to be able to have the privilege of doing. I've met a lot of dudes. And this guy, he's just so humble, so genuine, so driven, doesn't meet a stranger, but also at the same time is always focused on the work. There's nobody like Grayson Stewart. His guitar work, I mean, I could go down the line of like Adam D. Well, obviously, I could look at some guys from like Dio, Kill Switch, some of the more modern stuff, even. This guy just has a blend of all the types of music that you want to hear at the same time. Knows kind of when to like step back and let the singer take the lead. A musician's musician, that's what they call him. So, guys, this is what bucket list for me. I really try to go after musicians, drummers, guitarists, bass players, piano players. I want to hear the stories of the musicians and kind of how they became who they are. So this was a big like Christmas present for me. So guys, I can't wait to get this out to the world for you. I'm excited. If you can't tell, Dane sends his love. Well, hopefully we'll sing them soon with POD and Bad Wolves, our buddy Kyle, in May. So if you're nearby, stop by, hang out with us, have a good time. Don't forget, as always, on behalf of Dane and I, don't forget that we love you. And as Dane would say, thank you for listening. Okay.